I'm gonna try and punch that real fast. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so, I don't know what to call this, but I'll probably just call it protesting. Um, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna explain why my opinion and what my understanding of is why protesting doesn't work, and, like, I don't understand why people are asking for, like, more rights and more laws. Yeah, we want more, like, laws and rights to, like, protect the LGBT and, like, trans people, and I was like, nope, you don't realize what's actually happening, what the problem is. Okay, so, the problem is that we do have a few, very few, but we do actually have a few federal laws that protect, and obviously people have rights. I was like, your rights don't suddenly disappear when you identify as LGBT or trans or whatever the hell. It doesn't change. So really, that's not the problem here. Okay, we don't need more rights. We just need, I was like, more laws. I was like, maybe, but not really. I was like, you don't really need laws to protect your rights. You still have your rights. But the problem is people are trying to, like, take it away, but I was like, mostly just they keep making new laws. And the thing is that they do not implement, and they do not reinforce, and they do nothing when people break the laws that are in place already, just in general. And then they do not reinforce, and they do not put them in place, and they do not even apply those rules and have those rules in other states. So, Indiana only has one rule, one law, it's a federal law, that you cannot refuse to hire or you cannot fire people who are, they have it everything. They have a gender, different gender identity, so you're not cis, who like whoever the hell they want, so bisexual, not straight. So you can't, and you can't fire them, and you can't deny hiring them based on their race, sex, gender, or gender attraction. Yeah, gender identity. You can't fire them, and you can't. Let me see, what is it? You can't refuse to hire them because of that, because of your bias. You can, of course, refuse to hire them, and you can fire them if they don't have enough tools for the job, and they're bad at the job, they're not doing a good enough job, then, of course, you can fire them. And they'll complain about how they can get around that. And even, like, put down, like, their reasoning if they really want to. They're not supposed to. And if they do put the reasoning down, and if you can prove, and you are being harassed, and because you're different, because of your race, your sex, your gender, who you like, any of that, if you are harassed by that, then you can sue them. So if they're like Dollar General and other companies, you have to make sure they have this in their policy. They'll allow you to sue, and you're like, oh, but that won't make a difference. But if it's a few people here and there, they have tons of locations. They have almost at least 2 in each state, and they're making more all the time. They're getting more and more locations. So they must have one in every single state, and more than one, like Dollar General. And not just, I was like, you can have Dollar Generals? And I was like, we should probably have over 50 Dollar Generals, if you include, probably over that if you include the distribution centers and the little stores. So, yeah. So, they, of course, they apply that, and they're going to keep that in check and make sure that you're not going to be harassed or anything like that. And obviously, I'm also not going to come out just to be safe, you know? Or we're not going to come out because we're like, we don't know how safe this environment is. We don't trust the people. Especially since, like, I can only sue if I have money and I have a lawyer. Otherwise, I can't sue you. And I'm going to be too worried about trying to find a new job than to worry about suing you. I was like, why would I waste my money that I do not have to sue you? And it'll probably just stay in court and, like, won't be pursued and all that crap, so that was a mess. But if, like, they have enough people and, like, they get together and everything like that, then, of course, the company will lose a lot of money. That's why they'll follow through and make sure that you're not harassed and crap like that. Okay, so, yeah, it's a little bit about higher life. But no, I have to, like, when I make sure, I was like, I make sure that they're in different countries, and then also I make sure that the policy, they have that same policy, because they have that federal policy, for hospitals as well, for accepting patients. They're not allowed to deny you because of those things either. They have to serve you like everyone else. So you have to double check if that also applies to, like, your insurance company. Yeah. Because we have it in Indiana. And they're usually, the companies, if they're big enough, they're going to usually have it because they're not, just based in, like, Indiana. They're based all over, and they serve for people who can be in any state, you know? In multiple states. So they should have that policy in place. But if you go down to Kansas, they don't have any states. They don't have any laws. They don't have any laws. The federal law that they refuse to have. They refuse to follow. They refuse to implement. They refuse to even write down and have a law. They didn't have that law. It's not a law there. You have no protection. So you could get fired, and that could be the reason, but you could probably usually sue and get them in trouble for it, and at least bring attention and make a big deal out of it on social media. But you can't do it there, because there's no law, and there's no basis, and there's no protection, and there's no possibility of suing anyone. So you're just sucked. Great. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure there's also probably other laws in place, but we just don't have them. And then other states, they have a lot of laws. They have a lot of protections, and they have a lot of laws in place that are more positive and everything like that. And they have, like, good officials, and they have good options for officials. Like, we don't have any options. They're like, oh, but you can make a difference in your local elections. Except everyone is trash in all the local elections. Every election, I was like, our governor, everybody, there are no good options. There are just none. There are no good candidates. And I'm going to obviously vote outvoted anyway, even if we didn't have a good candidate. And they're all just Republicans anyway. So, there's no hope. There's nothing to do there. And it just can't make a difference. I don't see the point. I try and vote, but I'm like, I don't know why I'm going to bother voting, because I don't see the point, and nothing's going to change. Because my voice doesn't actually matter. And even if you do pick that person, they can do whatever the hell they want, and they could have just lied about the policies that made you pick them and try and elect them. They could just be lying the entire time, and they just get to do whatever the hell they want in office. So it's just a mess. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, protesting doesn't work and doesn't actually do anything. If you have good options and you can make a difference, and you can, in your local government, then go for it. Hopefully you succeed, and hopefully you can make a difference. But it's not an option for me. I don't see that happening. I've also given up. I was like, maybe I can do a little bit. And also, I think the big thing is, I was like, if you can protest, and you have, like, because a lot of times they have good leaders and everything for groups that are protesting. I was like, you have a good leader. I was like, make your leader run. Like, make them run for office. Put them in charge. And then you won't have these problems. I was like, you put the protester in charge. You put the leader of the protesters in the office. No more protesting. Just bother the officer. I was like, just go to your local office. Bother them. Fix them. Yeah. Like, work on your local office. I was like, we do have a few laws, but they're not in place, and they're not implemented, and there are no consequences when you break them. And most states don't even have them. They just refuse to implement them. It's a federal law. But they're like, nope, it's my own state. It's my own state laws. I can do what the hell I want. So I refuse. Do whatever the hell I want. Yep. So I'm left. Like normal. Okay, so yeah. And then I was like, because I realized I can just combine two ideas. I was like, gonna talk about being hired. I was like, worried about that. I was like, they are connected. We're gonna put them together. Okay, so yeah. But for like jobs, I was like, that could be the reason that they fire you, but they just shouldn't write it down. And even if they did, sue or anything, they won't get in trouble. And I was like, if that's the reason, then they just won't get in trouble if they don't tell you. They might still fire you because they're biased or they just don't like you. I was like, they might be racist or whatever, but they might also just not like you, and so they decided to fire you. Because that's what they can do, and there's nothing to stop it, and there's nothing you can do about it. But as long as they don't tell you that's the reason, and they don't write that down as their excuse or whatever, but everybody knows it, you can't prove it, and you can't do anything about it. So, yeah. Sucks. And I'm actually expecting to be fired all the time, so... I already have a fear of being fired. I'm a wreck. Okay, yeah, so we're not going to Kansas. Kentucky? Is it Kentucky? Oh, I keep saying Kansas. I think it's Kentucky. What the hell is right underneath Indiana? I was like, I went a little warmer, so I'll go completely south. And then I looked underneath, and I looked at other countries, other states' laws, and I was like, yeah. I was like, we are not consistent as a country whatsoever. I was like, our laws do not match. Every state has their own group of laws. You have the basics, the essentials, the bare basics, that are the same. But they don't have a lot of them. I was like, your laws do not match. The federal government and state laws do not match. So, yeah. Protest those. Like, if you're gonna do anything. And, like, also, I was like, you're gonna be out hot in the sun yelling. It's like, who has time for that? I was like, we're all poor and broke and dying. We're all just trying to go to our jobs and keep our jobs and to make sure that we actually get hired and that we don't get fired and that our bosses can't fire us because we're trying to do a good job and they can't use our race and our gender as excuse against us. So, we're already a wreck. I was like, and also I was like, if you're protesting, you're basically now homeless or jobless. And I was like, boycotting, I was like, yeah, because now you're all jobless. That's what's happening. You're all losing your jobs, but you're protesting and you're boycotting because you're already losing your jobs and you're not getting paid. So you're like, it's not worth it, so gonna protest anyway. Yeah. And I was like, I don't think you should hope for change. Just start looking for a new job. Just try and look and find a new job. Because I was like, you're not working. And either you're rich enough to not have to work, or you're already losing your job and you're already basically homeless and you have a job, so, yeah. It's like, you're protesting if you have money. But the rest of us do not have time, do not have energy, we can't do that. And it was like, either then, I was like, where would I find this? I was like, I don't even have a local office in my town, like, what am I protesting, where am I going to protest, and why would I protest if nothing's going to change anyway, so. I don't see the point, but if you do it, good luck. I hope something changes, but it doesn't seem to ever change, so. I don't really hold out hope for it. And they'll be like, oh, but, like, there was change or whatever when, like, they finally changed the laws and everything, got civil rights involved with the civil rights fight and everything like that, and when they first got the roads to vote and everything, like, there was protesting, there was marches all the time, but I was like, yeah, but that took forever. That took years and years and years. I don't want to wait that long. So we need to find a way that's more effective and more efficient, and that actually works. And I really only think, like, that the civil rights movement worked so well because we had a group that was of not just activists. They were, I don't know what it's called, but it's when you're, like, extreme, maybe it's called extreme, like, activists. So they went all for the cause because there was a group, because there was, who is it? There was the main popular girl that they always talk about, and there was another group that's a little bit smaller, but had a different leader, but had the same views and the same opinions, and the right movement, and the civil rights movement and everything like that, but he chose violence, because I was like, it made sense. I was like, it's effective, it'll work, and it seems to be effective because that's how you won wars, you use violence. You didn't talk, you didn't silently protest, you didn't just want to talk to people. And then after, I was like, because he chose violence and everything, and he showed how violent and how bad they could be, they're like, hey, this guy's being nice over here, and playing nice, but we won't. We're gonna do something. We're gonna make change. We're gonna kill you, get you out of the way, and put ourselves in charge. That was the goal. I'm pretty sure anyway. I was like, they were just gonna take out the enemy. Simple, effective, makes sense. I was like, you replace the leader. Makes sense. And then, I was like, and then later on, they listened to him, the King? Who is it? Martin King. Junior Martin King, I think it's the name. I'm not saying the right order, but yeah. So they finally listened to him, and they're like, oh, you're silently protesting, and then they finally actually did something, and the only way they changed those laws and they stopped the harassment of the police and everything is when the government got involved and said, hey, we're going to send our military down there to the south, and we're going to help you, and we're going to protect you. That's what they did, and then finally the government slowly changed. But it took them years for anyone to get involved and for any change to happen. So I was like, we need to find a solution that's way faster. It's like social media will help, because I was like, it's way faster, everyone will see it. Well, if it's popular, then more people will see it, and more people will know about it, and not just the local news, and they can't just hide the information. So if you're going to protest, you should also do it online. And I think I was like, if you're going to do protesting, you're out in the hot sun and all that crap, then you should also 100% do it online. Also have a whole page and do it online, and like I was like, take videos of you guys protesting, and make your message clear, and post it to social media so I can help out. Okay, random other thing that I wanted to include so I can erase the list of ideas. Okay, I don't really have social media. We tried a bunch of ones because I was like my best friends and all these social medias, and they kind of jumped all over the place. So we tried Snapchat for like a minute, and then we were done. Nope, delete that. Instagram? Yeah, no. Tried it, like made a post or two, done. Never doing it again. We still have our Facebook, but I was like, we just have friends and we barely use it anyway. We never use the other ones anyway. So yeah, I was like, we only tried like Snapchat and Instagram. I was like, we never had a Twitter account. I was like, Wattpad, you can sometimes message each other if you have an account on each other, but I was like, you're just both reading stories online and trying to write your own story. That's what's happening on there. And then I was like, YouTube, but I was like, it's not really social media. It's mostly just fun videos. Yeah. Like, I use it not to get my news from this and Facebook, but I just try to ignore the news anyway because I'm like, it's going to be depressing no matter what. So we're done. Bye.